Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review episode 149. This one discussing episode 1037 episode called Whiteout Part 2, which the ending I'll basically discuss. It's not something I like very much. Yeah, it's not a very likable ending. And the newest chapter of the manga, chapter 1087, and get a bit of rant for this one too. So, we pick up left off last week, where the detective boys arrive at a cabin. Not a very stable cabin. A cabin where the roof is about to come off, it's got cracked windows, and they stay there for a little bit, and of course you have Ismi, he's the guy who's the murderer, chasing after him. It's like, oh, this kid's very clever. And the whole thing is there's no service. And of course, it starts off quite interestingly, not with that, but with apparently there's a call out for Detective Boys, sent by Agasa, who does practically nothing in this two-parter. No, seriously, he does practically nothing. I mean, by far the most useless character of this whole thing. And it seems as though with this episode, I think they changed Agasa's voice acting. His voice sounds so different than he normally voices him. Did they change voice acting? It seems a bit deeper than usual. I don't really get why. It's kind of weird. According to this, he's still technically the voice of the character, but it sounds like the voice sounds different. Yeah, I don't really get of exactly why. It just sounds different. It sounds deeper. It's almost like the regular voice actor was available for this episode, so they had a stand-in. That's my personal guess anyways. Yes, that I'm just purely guessing at that, but that's probably what happened. So, basically, Conan somehow he sends Conan a text message, and then somehow Conan gets briefly some service. He talks to Gasa briefly, though Seagull's very weak, and of course has a rescue team, call the police, and send a rescue team. And of course, Conan decides they should leave. And with the roof coming off, definitely should leave because the cabin's really coming apart. So, luckily enough, there's some rope in this cabin, just by sheer coincidence. They all tied the rope around their shoulders. But that's actually not a bad idea to do. Well, until they get outside. Of course, there's a cabin not far away, and of course, there's a whiteout. Yeah, a whiteout is simply I personally have never experienced these before. It's a very heavy blizzard, where you cannot see where the heck going. It's kind of similar to some people going into a sandstorm. It's just as bad. And snow won't exactly hurt you very much. Sand will. So they walk for a while, and everything seems going fine. They're going straight. They're going to the cabin thanks to Cohen's glasses. And then all of a sudden, debris from the actual cabin comes off. Piece of the roof. They somehow fly up in the air thanks to the wind, which I think this is just so weird. And then somehow, they manage to have 3 pieces of this debris slice every single rope and send, you have Ami, leaning against, some piece of metal for the roof of this cabin. You have Micho leaning against a mountain. You have Genta leaning on the ground and behind one. And Conan briefly kind of rolling down a hill a bit, and of course his glasses come up, though he does eventually find his glasses. And also his leg is broken. Yeah, his leg is broken. He complains about that briefly, and then it's completely forgotten about. No, seriously, it's completely forgotten about once he finds the rest of the kids. He finds Ame first, then Genta, then Micho, and then of course they get to the cabin. And of course the villains come right behind them, and they go, "Oh look, it's a cabin." Now, unknown, this is this very same cabin that the Ichigo was at when him and his partner went there before he killed his partner last episode. And about to get to the door, and then all of a sudden, Conan gets buried by snow from the roof. Did Conan knock off something? This I thought was really weird. It's he walks up and the snow falls on him, and he collapses. And of course, all yelling, all of a sudden, like we see three silhouettes of three people. Is it the villains? No! It turns on the flashback, this is the rescue team. And then Conan looked like he's looked like a dream sequence, but no, this is the actual reality. Okay, the way the way this animation presents is almost like he's in a mass hallucination while he's buried in freaking snow. I'm like, okay. And he wakes in the hospital, and like apparently he hurt his head. I get the fact you get that from the snow falling him, but did they bother check his leg? I don't think they bother check his leg. And then all of a sudden they decide to go, and they kind of go deja vu of the same exact thing happened last episode. They have two people help. And I don't know if the people who made this episode apparently watched last week. They pretty much reused the same exact freaking cell of, like, these two guys. Now, the coats are different color, but the same position, the same type of vehicle, stuck in snow. I'm like, why the heck go with this again? I mean, yeah, deja vu, because they do this all, they do this a lot in the original, but not exactly. Like, my gosh, this was really lazy. But this episode was pretty decent overall. The ending was very anticlimactic. Oh, and by the way, the guy, the villain of the episode, the two party his goons are arrested off screen. And of course, Conan figures out, though, yeah, the employees probably got reduced sentence due to ratting out their boss. Wow. I would say the first half of this episode is actually pretty good. And oh, by the way, also one point, Conan gets called by the villain of the episode before he finds his glasses. And of course, he figures, oh, Agasa must have given him the phone number. Did he do it off screen? Why the heck would Agasa give this guy Conan's phone number? This makes no freaking sense at all. Like, I get maybe Agasa's number, but why Conan's? This makes no freaking sense. Yes, this is just like, wow, oh my gosh. Like, the rating for this is so bad. Like, the first half is pretty good. Second half is not very good. It's like something just by sheer coincidence. Just like, it's almost like the people who wrote this episode. Apparently, like, it's almost like this was probably meant to be a three-parter, but they probably had to rush it. They probably had probably due to time, or probably when people got sick, they probably had to combine two episodes of material into one, because this scene kind of seems like, though, this could have been like a three-parter. It's like we were probably meant to see that, but they probably had to hurry up. But of course, the series take a week off next week. Do not know why. Well, it could be a holiday next week. Is it Golden Week? I don't know. Maybe the animators want to take a week off. Fine, whatever. But if they gotta take a week off, please, love of God, better present a bare frickin' script to conclude an actual episode, because this ending was terrible. Yes. By far, for these two-part anime original episode, for these two-part anime original stories, this has the worst ending I have ever seen. Too much coincidence. Too much of character, like a character acting out of character. Like, why the heck would an adult give another adult a kid's phone number? This makes no freaking sense at all. And plus, that violates trust. Yes. But it's Japan. Though it's almost like the people who wrote this episode were like, oh, let's go have the characters basically go skiing. I'd say the first part was actually pretty good. I'd say the second was really something completely different. Yes. Though this is probably the first snow episode in quite some time in the series. Like, you might be thinking, okay, when was the last time we had a snow episode in the series? Yes, that's actually a really good question. Like, it seems like they have one of these a year. That's what it seems like, anyways. But it seems like once a year we have to have a case involving like the characters going to some snow stuff. That's what it seems like to me. Like once in a while they have to do this. And it's been a long time since they've actually had an episode where they're set in the... Well, actually, scratch that. They did have an episode where it was like snowing. But the last one they did this with was a canon episode, believe it or not. Yes. It was... Yeah, this one. It was way back in episode 1005. That was the last episode where they have a snow. Something with snow. But originally probably was even longer than that. So it's been about a year. At least they waited a good period of time. But at least last time was a canon episode. This one felt a bit necessary. It's almost like, though, this is probably an old reused plot from one of the movies. Like a rejected plot. They just the way it felt like, though, it seemed like this was probably supposed to be a plot for one of the movies based on the animation, but this probably was rejected due to various reasons. Like they actually did have one movie set in the snow, but this probably was meant for that movie, but they probably retooled it later on. Yes, and at least last episode gave an explanation of why Hybrid was on the episode, which that was fine. At least the writers remember that. Too bad they couldn't come to proper conclusion to this one. Alright, we're coming to chapter 1087, and it's called Idiots. First thing I'd like with the chapter, it's the final one of this arc. Like, really? Gisho Ama, can you please have a story arc last more than 3 chapters? Like, you can't have any chapters, you can't have arcs last more than 3? Like, whatever happens to the days when the arcs were actually 4 chapters? Or 6? No, they have to be 3-parters. Why? Don't know why. It's one of the most baffling things I've seen for this series. And it's been like this for the past 2 years. Like, you might be asking, what was the last known case prior to this one actually was not a frickin' 3-parter? And the answer is... Let me bring this up. Because it seems like, though, it's been a long frickin' time that we've had a case that was not a 3-parter. Yes. What was the last known case like this? The FBI serial murder case. A case that was concluded 14 months ago. That was the last case that was not a 3-parter. Because for the past 7 cases they've had for the manga, it's always been 3-parter, 3-parter, 3-parter. And sometimes they had to wait frickin' 2 months between chapters. Like, I get the break thing, but why can't you do longer arcs? Why? Why? There's not much story there? That's probably the reason why. I've heard the reason why, that he takes time off between arcs to basically, the reason why he takes the hiatus, so he can do research. Fine. That's not the issue. The issue is, for the 7th arc in a row, we have it end with, we basically have a 3-parter. Can we stop this? Seriously. Stop with the 3-parters. Like, can you have these cases last a little bit longer? Like, I don't know. How about 4-parter? We haven't had one of those in a while. Like, yeah, that's a really good one. Like, what was the last known case that was, in fact, a 4-parter? Trappenheimer Farm, an arc that came almost 2 years ago. That was the last known one that was 4 parts. And the last really big arc they had was Apex City Morgan. That was awesome. I love that one. That was really freaking good. Heck, even the arc they adapted for the anime, which was the Shogun Player murder case, that was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed that thing. That was a damn good story. Well, if the anime and manga basically presented really well. And of course, that one's going to be Sister's Birthday Murder Case. That probably be the next one in like a month, maybe. Just depends upon the anime. Yep. But in the case of this one, okay, aside from the fact I don't like the fact that it's a three-parter, this is a damn good chapter. We start off basically, we figure out who the suspect is. And then, of course, oh yeah, time for the Dog Diction show. And, of course, Maury's like, what? What's that voice? Feels like me? And Cone knocks him out. I'm saying this in a while. Oh, he's here, the sleepy girl. Like, that said, looks like he's gently sleeping. And Cone's like, whoosh, disappearing act. Yep. And of course, like, let's read the case first. Yeah, because, of course, they can't figure out who the suspect is. And they can't exactly. And, of course, Conan's like, the culprit entered the room where the victim, the woman, was sitting in. First, he pointed a silenced gun to the victim. They fired a warning shot later knew the gun was real. Then at the table, behind the table. After that, he threatened her with a bullet, telling her to ring the bell to summon the next guy into the room to have a conversation with him. Then, when the man left her, he shot her. Shot and killed her. Then they proceeded to ring the next bell and call the next man to leave the room. Or so possible the culprit intentionally traces to make it look like someone else did it. Because the victim had written on the piece of paper, identified the culprit piece of paper. Referring to the impressions memo? Even, where is it? Please put the paper along the crease on top of it. On top of it. It says, culprit person. Other words, the number 18, Cabra-san, you are the suspect. And you don't agree on those mistakes or lines. This campfire is a little bit mistaken front line. You can't frame me. The couple can write that. Then where were you after leaving the room? I told you already. Fixing my hair in the washroom the whole time. If you're in the washroom for a long time, there will be people who entered that time frame. Don't know. But I guess just when I just went to toilet and sat there, using my hand mirror. We were there the whole time. Nothing interrupted you at all. Yeah, until the police came. It takes a lot of time to do my hair, you know. You really not know then. You don't know what you say, not. The staff also mentioned they didn't know where the glass drop was. Someone should know where it had fallen, not only because it disappeared. Dropped nearby. They didn't know because of only one reason. It was dropped because it was a blackout. Blackout was pitch black. A blackout. The old storage room was the reason for it. Very likely there was electrical leakage. Somewhere may it happen. I said I forgot that it caused a short circuit if the room light is left turned on. Thus, hence, the broker tripped. In other words, I'll get them in my storage room and clean it up. It'd be okay because I used my phone's flashlight to testify the proof to that. When I spoke to somebody, it became atmospheric indirect lightning to turn off. This other guy's reading was also interrupted by the blackout. But if you didn't know so, no wonder. Because during the entire duration of blackout, you were hiding under the table. Or darkness of the table. You were under the table up until the body was discovered, so you didn't have much time to hide the glove. You said you were shut off in the toilet. Maybe hid it there. It was hidden in the washroom. We found it. Inside the toilet's water tank. It's like, damn it. And here I thought I was going to notice this move, but why'd you kill her? Tamaroy. was a fake name. They would call me. So, alright, a marriage swindler. A marriage swindler? A con man. Yeah, after she tracked my good natured older brother to support her, she led him to huge debt and drove him to suicide. She's pure evil. She often masqueraded as a marriage matchmaking event. It would mean slip. Somebody who slip and fall in rain. High-end shoes led if everything's so slippery. If it wasn't rainy. I would be surprised if she just spilled water down herself. That's why she stood at the entrance for a while before we let in. So just as I intended, I got the chance to be alone with her. The dinner's been canceled. Clear it off, put it away. And of course he takes a knife. Of course he's a guy basically because he gets a knife, he's about to stab himself. And then Takagi steps in, grabs a knife with a freaking blade, have put his fingers on the sharp end. And like, ouch, that freaking hurts. He's like, I'm not going to let you because you must atone for what you wronged in a proper way. And of course, Sato's like, Takagi! And Druga's like, hey kid, huh? Duck. Clothesline! Yep. That clothesline. The clothesline. Like, the clothesline. You okay? Give me your hand. Yeah, somehow. It hurts a lot, though. And then Cheryl's like, huh? She grabs with a freaking tie, bits him against the wall. It's like, you. When you decide to do something, you just go for it, don't you? It's like important. Think your shit when you some yourself. Yeah, like was kidnapped, beat people up, a phone call. You're similar to that idiot who died all on his own. An idiot? And then someone's like, stop. He's like, what are you doing? What's that? So you have a girl. And she's like, sooner or later, there won't be an idiot like that anymore. If you love him, don't let him go. And she's blushing. Yes, she's blushing. She's still blushing. And you've been sober. Try my motorcycle and take me home. He's like, huh? And what about the helmet for me? Well then, Bardef and Shenru. Since she and I messed up and got drunk, they shouldn't have been got here by motorcycle. And it looks like she'll take the train home. She's like, see ya, boy. Yep. He likes the job well. And I suspect she probably does know about his little secret with the whole behind the brains thing. It's not like, I'm thinking like, how the heck did she know he was even there? It's like, did she see him? Like, okay, it's kind of weird. And they have Juko driving the motorcycle. And he's wearing like a helmet that has like no face front of it. Of course, she's wearing the full thing. And he's like, what are you talking about? What were you talking about? And he's like, what was that about earlier? He's talking about, so we pinned that young guy, police department pinned the wall. Right, that technical surprised me. He looked so much like Jinpei. Jinpei? Your brother Kenji's best friend, Asada Jinpei? It was when I thought it was my third year of high school. Yeah, very similar. It was like, okay, he just walks up, stops a girl committing suicide with a knife, grabbed it. Same way. Apparently, when he was younger, he still had the band-aid on his frickin' face, which I thought that was kind of weird. So, apparently he had a band-aid when he was a frickin' teenager? Like, I thought it was really old. Like, nope, yeah, when he was a kid, too. Blood gushment. He's like, blood gush from his hand, dropping knife, falling into Shibu. Regard suicide attempt. Makes somebody Shibu cry. I asked him why. Why'd you cut the blade? You gonna stop her? He said, I gotta show my blood so he knows how to treat life better. How horribly you've been treated. Don't throw your life away. It would force him to miss is inter-high boxing match. What an impulsive idiot, huh? Huh, Jugo? It's widow on your stomach. Is this blood? Did I tell you this morning I managed to bang the murderer's robbery suspect? He managed to stab me lightly in the side, and I have received 5 stitches. Seems like the clothesline move from before opened up my wound. Oh, it's still fine for me to drive you home, though. Hold on tight. There's still an idiot here. There's also an idiot here. Okay. I got hands. This actually was a pretty damn good chapter. And it's like, I like the fact Sato was acting like the protective girlfriend, like, hey, this is my guy. And I love her lines like, if you love him, don't let him go. It's interesting that the fact she's blushing the whole time. Because everybody knows she loves Takagi, which this is a well-written chapter. This was just really good. And apparently, like, okay, Jugo apparently has got a stab wound on his freaking side he has 5 stitches. And it opened up from his clothesline? Okay. Like, I would probably thought he would have waited till the thing was healed before he went back to work, but it looks like, though, he has to drop off her home, and then he has to go to the hospital, get himself re-stitched up. Like, okay. Interesting. The next chapter comes out in about a month from now. Not bad of a wait, at least it's not 2 freaking months. Yeah, a lot of the time, these chapters, like, they take, like, a little over a month before they finally come out, like, sometimes even almost 2 months. But yeah, don't have to wait very long. Yeah, the very next case, like, it says, like, March 2nd. I'm like, okay, that is going to be about just almost exactly 1 month from now. I'm like, okay, at least we don't have to wait very long for the conclusion of this one. Yeah, didn't wait very long. Kudos for doing that. And it's interesting, though, that 2 chapters in a row we have basically characters like who never really counted before having connections to previous characters who are no longer alive. Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting, the fact they did that. And it's like so that Chuzo got a chance to meet Takagi, the new partner of Sato. Apparently, it's probably Sato doesn't know the fact that this woman who's grabbing onto her boyfriend is the sister of her late partner, the one who she apparently previously had a thing for. Or the fact that, oh yeah, we mentioned the whole thing with Jinpei, which, that was interesting. Which I found this story to be pretty good, and I personally cannot wait for the very next story arc. Hopefully, just hopefully, that it's not a 3-parter again. Yep. And this is surprising, a very long review, almost 30 minutes. Like, wow, that's something. I never suspected, though, that one of these reviews would go this long. But the only reason why, because basically I talk about this chapter for so long. Yep. But don't have to worry about this next week because no new episode. So, because of how late it's getting, I'm going to have to save that time I'm going to Slime review of the last 6 episodes for tomorrow. Along with newest episodes of Demon Slayer, One Piece, and Boruto. Yep. Next video. Bye.